What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Sport Exposure Podcast. As you know, we're here to expose sports stories, talk about our journeys, talk about things we've gone through, and really create a safe space for student athletes. Today, I have Dillon Berger here with me, Kennesaw State track and field freshman at that. Yes. How you feel?
Pretty good. I'm excited for this podcast. So
absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself.
So I am a full-time student, a student athlete at Kennesaw State University. I run cross-country and track there. And yeah, so just still adjusting to it and to the environment, stuff like that.
I was going to say, you got your first freshman semester now.
Yes.
How was it?
It was a little tough, but still adjusting.
Okay. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
So here at Sport Exposure, we're all about celebrating our triumphs and learning from defeats. When you hear that motto, what comes to mind when you think about your athletic journey?
That's a good quote for life because, when we're successful, we celebrate. And, when we have, a defeat, we think it's over or, we're defeated or it's final. But honestly, we can just look at that and use that as fuel to a fire. So just use that as motivation to, get better, to be successful.
For sure. You fine. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Dillon, personal life. Where did track and field start for you? Where did the athletic journey come from?
So I started running my 8th grade year, and I started running honestly not because I had not that I liked running. I just wanted to get out of a group home, and yeah, so I just had to clear my head from all the thoughts, didn't have a family, raised, growing up, stuff like that. And it was just a way to express my emotions. I can go on a 8-mile run, and if I was mad, I'd pick up the pace, or if I was,
So it was an outlet for you.
Yeah, it was a coping mechanism. Yeah, so just
Do you mind expanding on the things that you were coping from at that time frame?
Yeah, so what I was coping from, I just, I was kind of mad that I didn't have a family, or that I was treated different, or I was treated poorly because I didn't have the essential needs that a kid should have. So that I was just really mad at that. So at that time I ran angry, and
you're fine.
Sorry. But yeah, at that time I ran angry and just learned that, I don't know.
Okay. So prior to 8th grade, what was your upbringing like?
It was rough. So, bouncing from motel to motel. It was hard making friends during that time because, I didn't I probably went to 6 different schools because it was just we didn't have a permanent household. So it's hard making friends, and that's when I went into foster care, started running, making friends, and then, so on. I got adopted and stuff like that.
How old were you when you went to foster care?
I was 7th grade, so what is that, 13 or 14?
I think a little before that, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship like with your parents?
So I've never met my dad, my biological dad, never met him. My biological mom, I haven't spoken to her in probably 4 years. So in the past, though, I lived with my biological mom. That was very rough. And yeah, we got through it, though. And, at that time, all I did was, praise the Lord, put it all in his hands. And that's all I could do because I didn't have any say on it. I was still so young. I couldn't work or anything like that. So
I'm sure that you were exposed to a lot at a very early age.
Yes.
What were some of those things that were a turning point for you?
So some things that were that would happen, I'll say drugs, being around drugs, being around I was raised around gangs too. There was gangs all in that area, and always fighting, stuff like that. And I was just raised oh man, I'm living in this. So I just told myself I can't do this. I got to turn it around. I got to do my own thing. So I started running to get away from all of that. And because I knew I was always the fastest growing up. So I was I could probably go somewhere with this. So yeah, so that was a turning point, just being around all of that. And I just didn't want to go down that road.
You have siblings?
Yes.
How are your other siblings?
So athletically, not so well, but
they didn't get that gift.
No. But I have an older sister and then 4 younger brothers.
Okay.
So
you have a relationship with your older sister?
Yes.
Okay.
She goes to she is 19 and she goes to UNG. So
Okay.
yes.
So y'all are still kind of
Yes.
around the same age range.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about your childhood and really turning that corner, and I could relate to a lot of, we come from different backgrounds, come from stories that are very hard, and I can attest to making up in my mind that this is not going to be my life. Like, this is what I'm coming from, but this is not what my life is going to look like forever. And it takes a strong mentality to do that. And talk about getting yourself to that point or just staying afloat. Because this is every morning, every day, this is what your life is. But it's not going to always look like this. Yeah. So talk about getting to the point where it's like, all right, Dillon, like, this is not going to be your everyday. I don't want my life to look like this. I don't want my life to, I don't want my current situation to define the rest of my life.
So it was about, I went to foster care at 7th grade, and I played basketball. That was my previous sport. So it was a little adjustment, but I transferred group homes, and I went out for track, just for the fun of it. Why not? It's a new sport. And my coach pulled me aside at that time. His son was very good. I looked up to him. His name was Seth White. And his dad pulled me aside and said, Dillon, you have the potential to be really good if you take this serious. So from that point on, this was 8th grade. From that point on, I just started working harder and harder, running more miles, taking it serious. And so that's when I knew.
Was there anybody that you looked up to growing up that kind of helped you, that may or may not knew your situation, but kept you grounded?
I would honestly have to say my older sister. She's very determined of what she does, and she's very quiet, but she's probably one of the hardest workers I know. So
that's dope. You had her right close by you.
Yeah, always on my side.
For sure. So we started track in 7th grade, 8th grade.
8th grade, yes.
When did you get to a stable environment?
So I got into a stable environment around 8th grade year. So I started running. I was in a foster home at that time still. And we went to some church camp. It was from my church. It was up in Tennessee. And that's when I met my dad now, my foster dad. I'm adopted now, but at that time he was my foster dad. I met him, and we were playing basketball. And I just knew that was right. He was super nice. He started talking to me and my sister. And that's really when I started getting more of a stable environment. And at that point, I just started focusing on myself, my running, because I'm trying to go places. So I just started focusing on myself. And so around high school, around probably sophomore to senior year is when I was stable.
I'm sure that was very relieving for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. So having parents that, I got adopted my junior year, but I was fostered my sophomore to senior year. And just having parents that actually, supported me.
That was new for you.
Provided all the essential needs and stuff that I needed. Yeah, it just helped, made me better. So
what keeps this energy? Because you seem like a very high energy person, and coming from the things that you're going through, a lot of people, they struggle with that.
Yeah.
And just to see the brighter side of things, even though we can't see it right now.
Yeah.
But what kept you, where did this mindset come from?
I've always been a positive person, but in the past I've struggled, forgiving people. And
that's huge.
Yeah. So I'm just honestly just trying to grow in faith. And the Bible says, we should forgive and we shouldn't hold on to grudges. And so I just took that to heart. So I don't hold on to grudges anymore. And I just, try to be as positive as possible. Sometimes I say something to my teammates that, I'll take I'll take accountability of it. But
and that's life.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a huge lesson.
Yes.
And that's something that I just came around to not too long ago. But, in talking about our upbringing and talking about our family situations, and I had to really understand that our parents only did what they knew was best for us, right?
Yes.
In their mind, or they only knew what they could do, or they did the best that they could, or we had no clue where they came from. We had no clue, the situations they were fighting behind closed doors, and you have to forgive them because at the end of the day, it wasn't you, right?
Yes.
Where did that forgiveness come from?
I'll be honest, it didn't come from my biological family. They weren't the best, people to look up to. And just being raised by them, I just taught myself the stuff I know. And they tried to teach me certain things, but I just knew it wasn't right. And so I was like, okay. Like you said earlier, like turning point, like that was just a turning point. I said, I'm gonna, live my life and I'm gonna do what's best for me. And so yeah, I just taught myself how to, stay positive. And
at an early age, how did you know what right was right and what wasn't? How was you able to depict what right from wrong? If that's what you grew up in, a lot of kids would think that this is normal. Yeah. This is right. So how were you able to defer the two?
So I really couldn't tell off of like people's like relationships with their parents, but I just started like recognizing that I was being like, fed lies my entire life when, my biological family started saying like, God isn't real and bull crap like that. And that's when I just knew that, okay, they're not telling me the truth,
Right.
So that's when I just knew like, yeah.
What was your lowest moment growing up? And how did you get through that?
Lowest moment growing up, we were in a hotel up in Canton, and it was me, my brother, all of us, my sister, my mom, and her boyfriend at the time, and my sister's boyfriend. My sister ended up, going off with her boyfriend and my mom's boyfriend, and they had drugs in the car. They got pulled over. They ended up all getting arrested. My sister and her boyfriend were just detained because it wasn't their drugs, but the dude got arrested. They detained my sister and her boyfriend at the police station, and then called my mom and said, "You got to come pick up your daughter." She's at the police station, and my mom was like, "Okay, well, I have to do this." So my mom had a search warrant out for her at that time, and so she went to go pick them up, and she got arrested. So now me and my brother are stuck in the hotel alone, and we're like, well, shoot, what do we do? Like,
how old are you?
I was probably 11 or 12. And I was stuck there like, man, what do we do? Sitting there watching cartoons, and I didn't know what to do. So I called my grandparents. They didn't do anything. And so my mom's friend ended up picking us up, taking us to the police station. And that's when, from there on, went to the DFACs. They took us away. So, yeah.
So that was your turning point.
That was my lowest moment. Yes.
How did you get through that? I know that wasn't no snap of the fingers get through. Day by day, what was that process like?
I would have to say I got through it by just being with my brother and sister. They just helped, we just stayed together. Thank goodness they kept us together, but us staying together just made us stronger. And yeah, we trusted in the Lord and trusted in each other. And that's basically how we got through it.
That's huge. I'm inspired by your story already, Dillon.
Thank you.
And growing up through high school, and you're in a stable environment, you're in a healthy environment now. Yes. How did that change your lifestyle when it came to interacting? Or maybe when you were younger, how did the situation that you were coming from affect how you interacted with other children?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So me being raised the way I am, I could pick off certain things from other people, like when people are, telling me the truth, or, how to deal with people that are being adverse to me or stuff like that. So that's the one benefit that came from my, my childhood, me being able to, me being raised like that poorly. It just taught me like, like the life skills that I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't have to, learn that like that early, but I did. So that helped me. So, yeah. So
fast forward to high school, like I said, you're in a stable environment.
Okay.
How did you alter, or how did you change? How did you adapt? Because when you go from this was your norm for so long up until 8th grade, and now you're in a stable environment, that could be night and day. And that's also an adjustment too. How was that adjustment for you?
Okay, so when I got to high school, I was more of like, okay, I could chill out a little bit now, like I'm in a stable, I could relax a little bit. So I started chilling a little bit, but I was still focused. But I actually make friends. I have a stable, household and stuff like that. Getting all the needs, all the clothes, food, and stuff like that. Started making friends. I stayed at the high school for all 4 years.
That was new. All 3 years. That was new for you too.
Yes, that was new. So that's how I was able to make friends, and so that's how I basically. Yeah, so I relaxed there, and my senior year is when like it started getting like serious because all the offers rolling in and stuff like that, and then that's when people, switched up, like started being mean to me, started making fun of me, stuff like that. And
What were they making fun of you about for?
so my senior year, I strained my hamstrings like 3 times. So I was,
Same one or?
yeah, it was both.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I was struggling, with like rehab and stuff like that, getting them better. And I was, going to PT, stuff like that. My parents were paying for it. And so they would mock me at practice, like, oh, my hamstrings, I can't do the workout. And it wasn't my fault. Like, I'm just training super hard.
Happen.
It's just, but yeah, so, I was chilling my sophomore, junior year. And then my senior year just got stressful. I had to worry about the SAT, ACT, had to worry about all these offers and where I'm going. And I didn't know if I wanted to, I qualified for the USA team for triathlons.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't know if I wanted to, continue that or like pursue that in college or, continue running. But so that was just, I'm still like, adjusting to all of this because this is about to be the biggest decision of my life or one of them. So that was like one point where I couldn't chill out anymore. I had to,
Yeah, let's talk about your senior year when all these offers rolling in.
Yeah, so.
Because coming from your story, I'm sure that was, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Yeah, so it was a dream come true just seeing like all these like coaches reaching out to me.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, it just made me happy, honestly. Throughout the, all the hard times of senior year. I was like, okay, well, people want to be mean to me. I'll show them what's up. So,
I got something for them.
Yeah, so I didn't like flex or anything like that. I tried to stay humble as possible, but it was basically like relax. Like I was just chilling. I was like, okay, well, I don't care what they say because I'm getting all these offers.
How many offers did you have?
I had 30 plus offers with like including like D2, D3, and D1. So,
wow.
Yes.
That's full circle for you.
So that was just nice seeing that.
So I know that, as you said, that process can be very stressful.
Yes.
You got all these coaches, all these schools, glamour, glitz, official visits, unofficial visits. Yes. Let's talk about your preparation for college.
So.
And how did you make the decision to go to Kennesaw?
So I'll start off with saying how I like decided. So I've always looked for, especially senior year, just realizing it. I've always looked forward to having a team that brought each other up instead of bringing them down. And there's always gonna be people that are mean and adverse and stuff like that. But I've always looked forward to positive people, and I've known people like on the KSU team when I was a senior, and I just know like I raced them in high school and they're very nice and stuff like that. So I was like, that was one thing why I chose Kennesaw. And another big thing was tuition. And I didn't want, go into student debt and get all the student loans and stuff like that. So it was in state. And if I had any problems, I live 20 minutes from Kennesaw State. So I can just go home and talk to
hometown kids. Fun.
Yeah. So I can just go home and talk to my parents if I had, a problem or something. And so that's why I picked Kennesaw State University.
And back to high school, making the decision.
Yes.
Because that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I can remember my junior year, just the amount of coaches coming on the letters, like it's a lot.
Yes.
Talk about the emotions, the mental aspect of it, and just maintaining because you still have a season to get through. So even though I'm getting all these offers, I still gotta keep my composure.
So I just took the SAT and I was waiting for my score to come back. I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, that test was so hard.
Yes, it is.
And that test was so hard. So I remember one day I was with my friends and I think I spent the night at his house that previous night. I was coming home, getting ready for the track meet. And I see everyone I walk in the house and I see everyone sitting there. I was like, oh, what's up, y'all? And my dad starts teasing me. He's like, we need to talk. I'm like, oh man, okay. So I sit down and I see some paper in his hand and it's an acceptance letter for Kennesaw State. And I was like, oh, let's go. So when I got that, honestly, I was like, okay, I made my decision. Like, I'm gonna go to Kennesaw State. So I saw that and then I was like, okay, so I have 3 more races this season for track. I was like, let's make this official. So later that day, I ran some track meet. I forgot the name of it, but I was like, man, I have nothing to worry about. I already got this offer. Man, I could run the worst race of my life and I'm still going to go. So that's another point where I was just chilling. I stopped, stopped really caring because
In your mind, you said, I'm good.
Yeah. So it wasn't the most important race, but yeah, that's when I made my decision, when I saw the acceptance letter.
And with that comes a level of, like you said, a level of comfortability, like in a level of self-achievement, you know, because you know, no longer, of course you want to race to, you know, to perform to your best. But in the same moment, it's just like, dang, like everything that worked towards here. Like I don't have to worry about that anymore. This is the only race where I don't have to worry about a college scout or doing bad or losing a scholarship or losing a look.
Yes.
And for you, I can only imagine the full circle moment that was, considering your journey and your process, and to finally be in a stable, like just the order of steps, you know, things happen for you. And just tell me about your senior year, because everything's finally happening for you. Going through, like growing up the way you grew up, seeing the things that you've seen. And those are things that we, as much as we want to, we don't forget that. You know, those are things that always stuck with us. And in some sense, they kind of give us a little extra ammo and motivation. So your senior year, tell me about your emotions, the things that you're feeling, the things that, if you're revisiting some of those thoughts, because sometimes these moments you kind of think about like, dang, like this happened.
So I still think about it to this day. I don't like what happened senior year, you know, how I was treated poorly, but it's life. So you forgave all the people that, you know, treated me different, treated me poorly. But after I committed, I mean, everything is just all gone. Yeah, reliefs, and just like, you know, people would still try to make fun, like, you know, hootie hoo, and like, you're going to Kennesaw State. But I'm running, I'm running Division I. You know, it's my dream. It's all coming true. So
that's huge, Dillon. That's huge.
Thank you.
So that was just last year. So now here we are, just finishing freshman semester. College athletics is no joke.
Yeah, it's not a joke.
Tell me about the adjustments and how your first semester has been as a collegiate athlete.
It's been, the first few weeks were definitely tough. Yeah, I bumped one of my tests, and that was a turning point. So I was like, okay, I have to get serious now. Like
I bumped a few of them my first year.
I have to get serious again. So I started, you know, focusing on academics at the beginning, and then I started doing good at my classes, and then I was like, okay, like focus on like athletics now. Started doing that, and I started performing really well. And I was like, okay, so let's just mix it in now. So I started mixing it in, ended it with good grades.
What does mixing it in look like for you?
So if I took a bad test or if I made a bad grade, then that would mess up like me mentally. I'd be like, oh man, I'd be stressed out, I'd be bummed out because I never made bad grades in my life. So that would affect my running because I'd be thinking about it, like, what can I do to, you know, make my grade better, stuff like that. And so I just started mixing it in. So I started making good grades, which, you know, led to me, you know, performing well because I had nothing to worry about. I had, you know, good grades. They can't kick me off the team because my grades are good. And that was the one thing I was focused on. Like,
that's a good mindset to have, because some athletes think that they won't kick you off the team because I'm a good athlete. But grades play a huge part in that.
Absolutely. So I was focused on that, and then started making good grades. And then I was like, okay, I'm chilling. So I started taking the workout serious and started trying harder. And then that led to success as well.
What's the hugest difference between high school athletics and college athletics for you?
Okay, so a big big transition was high school. I probably ran 5 miles per day. And I thought that was normal. Like, okay, yeah, that's good for me. Then I went to college, and we're getting, 10 miles plus per day. And, now I'm running 70 miles a week. So
Jesus Christ.
So yeah.
I commend track run. The people that choose that to be your sport. I mean, I had to run because I played basketball, but I'm tripping over 2 miles, 1 mile.
Yeah, so that was the biggest transition. And
70 miles a week is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And training that way and adjusting that huge jump, a lot of changes comes to your body. Nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
All of that changes when you get to college. Tell me about that. Talking
about nutrition, we have the commons compared to high school where you only got 1 meal per day, right? Lunch. But the commons, you go eat whenever you want, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Y'all food
and
good?
It's all you can eat, too.
Say y'all food good?
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's good. And it's all you can eat, too. So I started taking nutrition they're serious. Like I could eat more. I could get all like, the food I need. And so yeah, and it's on my own basis too. So I can go eat whenever I want compared to a certain time of the day compared to
What
high
does
school.
a healthy diet look like for you running 10 miles a day? Like what that, like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, so my diet, I'll be honest, isn't the best, but I eat a lot of tacos because it's just a lot of, like carb loading, stuff like that. A lot of beans, rice, chicken. Gotta get protein in there too. And my hydration is, a big key, but I tried hydration is the best, but I try to drink, as much as I need 2-3 days before my race. Practice, I really don't care, but I really focus on it like probably a week or two before the race. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. Other than that though, it's just like I've been slacking right now, like eating junk food because I'm on a break.
Absolutely.
But
you earned that.
Yeah, a little reward.
You earned that. What is one thing that you could do as a high school athlete that you cannot do as a collegiate athlete? Or a few things, because it's a lot. I mean, you're also still learning. I know it's still fresh. So what are some habits that you could not carry over into college?
Hanging out with friends as much. So after practice, I can go to, racetrack and stuff like that and go have fun, go play basketball.
Right.
That's a big key. Sports, I could play basketball all day without worrying. If I get injured, I get injured. But now, since I'm in college, I can't play basketball because, it's like a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
Yeah,
I don't like it. It is.
So I can't play basketball or do any of that stuff because it's just, it'll put my career in risk. So.
And talk about the training adjustments.
Again, so just like high school, I'd run 35 miles per week. Now I'm running 70 miles a week.
That is insane.
And on top of training adjustments, I'm there with, kids similar, speed wise. So I'm not compared to high school, it's all by myself in workouts. Compared to, college now, there's 4 or 5 dudes, on my tail during the workouts, and it helps me get better. So I like that a lot better too.
The competition, because in high school, you go from being the best on the team to everybody's good.
Yeah, everyone's good.
Everybody's good and everything's competitive.
Yes.
So what's your major?
So as of right now, it's business, but I'm going to have to go into pre-med because I want to be a physical therapist.
Okay.
Yes.
Dope. That's a lot of school. You ready for that?
Yeah.
So ultimately, what's your legacy that you want to be left behind?
Honestly, I could forget about athletics. I just want to be remembered by, the respectful, kind teammate that lifted each other up or lifted people up.
So you don't want to go pro?
I would love to go pro, but as of right now, I don't know.
It's still early.
Yeah, it's still really early.
It's still really early.
But right now I'm just focusing on U20s. It's like, hold on, you guys cut this part out. I'm about to think about it. So right now I'm focusing on U20s. U20s is basically like a big race for kids under 20. It's like the best of the best. And I have 1 year. This is my only year that I could be eligible for it since I'm still young. So I'm focusing on that right now. And then I would love to get 2 school records at KSU. So I'd love to get the mile school record, which is 4:10, and then
1 mile in 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah. And then I'd love to get
the
the 5K school record, which is 15:32, I believe.
And you will. I can't wait to see.
Or 14:32, that's my bad.
Where you at now?
I'm at so I haven't ran any 5Ks since high school.
What do you run a mile in?
My mile is 4:26, but that's high school. So
that is insane.
Yeah, so hopefully, I think if I went to the track probably right now, I think I could probably go 4:20, but then peak I could probably go sub 4:10.
It sounds you right there. You said 10 seconds. I know that's huge in track, but that's doable.
Yeah.
And for your 5K?
Oh, so I've been, speaking to my coach and my teammates about that, and they're like similar, training wise, speed wise, all similar. And I was talking to my teammate Grant Crabtree, and he was telling me like that it's very possible for me to get the school record. He said that, at worst I could probably go 14:40 in the 5K, 14:45. So that's off of high school. That is basically a minute off, a minute PR, which is
Okay.
insane. But so yeah, that's my main.
I got
goals right
faith in
now.
you, Dillon. You're going to do
Thank
it.
you.
I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see it. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see it. So are you open with your story? Do a lot of people know about your story?
No one.
Really?
Yes.
I'm honored.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm honored. And do you think this will start you telling your story more? Do your teammates know your story?
No. So how I thought about it is the less they know, the better, because they won't have anything against me. Compared to high school, people would say stuff. So compared to high school, they'd say stuff. So I thought, going into college, it's a fresh start. The less they know, the better. So they don't know anything, but I'm sure they're going to see this and be like, okay.
So this is a huge step for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Oh, a little nervous at first, but
that's what sport exposure is all about.
Yes.
We all have journeys. We all come
Yes.
from situations, and
absolutely.
a lot of our situations are like others. They may or may not be like others. And, even in your situation, you could have easily been defeated.
Absolutely.
You could have easily said, F this. Your life could have
Yes.
looked so much more different if you had not had the mindset to be where you are today, right? And I applaud you for having this conversation with me, because it's going to be somebody watching this that's going to be so inspired by your journey.
Thank you.
And the things and just to see where you are. You're still a freshman. Like, I know that you're gonna kill both of those records.
Thank you.
At Kennesaw. And I can't wait to see that and do so many great things after school and, post track and outside of track. And I hope and pray that this is the start of you being more open with your story, because I like to encourage people to walk in their truth. God gave us our stories for a reason. He had a purpose, right? We may not always understand it in the moment, but it's always a purpose behind everything. And what I'm hearing is that you had to go through that to get to where you are.
Yes.
And you had to be exposed to what you were exposed to find a way to cope, which was running.
Yes.
Fast forward to now. Look at you, right? Look at you. So, like I said, I thank you for sharing your story, Dillon. I give best of luck wishes to you. I know it's still early on, and we're looking forward to. Hopefully, I'm gonna have to try to catch a track meet. Y'all come up here. Y'all come to Virginia at
all? I don't think so.
That's fine. That's fine.
We go to Vanderbilt, Clemson. We host a couple of, that's indoor though, because of host a couple of home meets, and then.
What are you looking forward to most as a collegiate athlete?
Getting better with all my teammates and just seeing myself grow, in faith and just, mentally, physically, spiritually. So
absolutely. You have a bright future, Dillon.
Thank you.
You have a very bright future. But once again, thank you. Thank you. And finally, the final question is sport exposure. We're here to expose sports stories, expose journeys, and really to inspire a student athlete, because there's a lot of things about sports that they don't tell us till it's too late. So what about sports do you want to expose? Exposure can be good, it can be bad.
Yeah, so sports is a mix. I would say don't let sports, become your identity. Do stuff out of, your sport. Like, for example, go play basketball. But don't do something that will lead to, that could prevent or that could lead to injury or risk of, affecting your career or something like that. But that's probably my main advice. Just don't let it become your identity, because that happened to me senior year, and I just fell apart when everyone started talking about me and stuff like that. I fell apart, and so started doing stuff on my own, and that's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give.
Overcoming adversity. That's what life is all about, right?
Yes.
Well, once again, thank you. Did I create a safe space for you? You know well about safe space for student athletes. Did you feel safe?
Of course.
Absolutely. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Where can we find you?
Find me on Instagram, Dillon Berger 1.
Okay. And we'll be sure to look out for you this season.
Thank you.
Well, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.